all right, here's the game. The game is you wake up in the morning. There's what you do every morning and what you don't do every morning. The game is eliminate one thing you do every morning that's not paying you and add instead one 15-minute thing you do that would pay you. Whatever that is. That one little shift. Let's see what happens if we take 1 week. You don't have to play. But I would really like you to, because I'd like to hear how this affects you. And take an honest look at what, in fact, you're doing every morning before you start your day or as you start your day, and take one of those things, not all of those things, but one of those things that's just a waste, and say, I'm not doing that, and instead do something else. What's up, guys? We made it through another week. Do I seem lighter to you? It'd be hard to tell in one sentence. Really working on what I talked about last week. If these are in order, they may not be in order.
Well, you're still wearing the same clothes, so they might be able to catch on.
Yeah. So maybe we'll start over.
No, it's funny.
Let's keep it real.
Yeah.
All right. We'll keep it real. Still very excited to play with the concept of letting everything go. And I'll let you know how that goes if there's something to learn from it. I've been binge watching TV a lot. Oh, by the way, happy to announce, and this is probably inappropriate, but in my family it's completely in line with what we talk about all the time. You're looking at a guy who's pooping solid again. So let's just put that under the heading of gratitude, like keeping it simple, because I cannot tell you the joy I have in being regular again. I sound like an old dude on those commercials, but I'm feeling a lot better. I was not feeling well for a long, long time. It's been like 3.5 weeks of feeling like shit. So it's great to feel good and have some energy to put into some stuff. And I've actually taken on a big project I haven't talked to you about that I'm going to do. I've been...
A physical one?
No. Kind of in the workspace, but people have been asking me for years to do like keynote speaking at corporate. I do a lot of corporate stuff, but all the stuff I do is either moderating other people's keynotes or emceeing the event and just getting us from this point to another and whatever. And ever since the show has aired and I've kind of been, talking about life and stuff on the show, and people seem to be responding, they've been saying, man, you need to go and do like a keynote. And for those of you who don't know what that means, it's like when you do a corporate meeting, for whatever reason, they have people come in and give a 45-minute talk about something that's supposed to help. So what is a theme for me is having great ideas and no follow-through. And that's been the case with this for a long time. And this is interesting, is like when somebody in your family takes on a big project, Robbie and I always laugh that, like, if I go do a workshop where I'm going to have some, realization stuff and, like I'm going to throw myself in to some, self-talk and some, education, that for the partner, it's like, oh, fuck, that guy's going to show up again. I got to be with that all the time. It's like everything's going to have a meaning and blah, 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 blah. So Robbie has taken on this project with our friend Pat Finn, who is here.
Yes.
So she's doing Rubicon Results right now. She's doing a team thing to write a show that she's been putting off forever. And I've been like, oh, fuck, man, she's going to be all, like, turned on. And I'm so not turned on right now. Like, her energy's going to be like, let's go. And I'm, like, not engaged in anything right now. I'm just like, I moved my garden. That whole project happened. Ask me what I've planted in the new garden.
What have you planted?
Not a damn thing. So I'm growing dirt right now. And that's going great. So because she's so fired up and engaged and grappling with that, like really struggling with breaking through something she's always wanted to do that she seems stopped with. And as I spoke about in the last episode, I have also been part of her being stopped by trying to support her, but really just shutting down her energy. But her energy is a little contagious. And so now something showed up, and I did what I've done in my life a lot to great success. And I wish I could just remember this lesson more often, is that sometimes I say yes to something, often to please the person who's making the request, just because I want to be liked. And then I'm in it and I got to do it. And everything shows up. So it's like all the reasons why you didn't do it show up of why you can't. And I got to do this, but this. And it goes back to even like social media on this thing that I recently just hired someone to handle the social media for us. Mm-hmm. And the realization was whether you can learn to do it, whether you know how to do it, whether you should do it, you don't want to do it. Obviously, you don't want to do it. So if I can reach out for help, which, by the way, this is huge. We don't do that enough. It's like we don't have to suffer as hard as we suffer. We can just reach out for help. Other people will help us. It's like it's not weakness. It's strength. So thank you for the help that hopefully you guys will see soon. What were we talking about? You don't even know. So anyway, so I've taken on this thing where, so I have a keynote that I've written about the power of connecting with people, which is important to me, that I'd be happy to share some of the points with you. But I haven't done any, this is a classic me. Here's great content. Nothing in the way of me being successful and financially hugely successful because there's a lot of money in this. And what it takes to do it is to put together a little tape, put it out there to the people that would book you, make it known that there's something you want to do, and then work towards that goal. Key there is actually working towards something as opposed to thinking about it.
Yes.
And that goes back to starting this podcast, everything, same thing. So, I get asked to do a keynote, I show up, I do the keynote, and I lose all the momentum afterwards. So Pat Finn reached out to me saying he wants to do this and he needs to put together a tape. Do I have any ideas of how to help him get there? And I immediately said, I need to do that too. I'll do it with you. And then as soon as I said it, I'm like, fuck. I said it to the wrong guy because when you say shit to Pat Finn, he's such a force to be reckoned with. And quite frankly, his opinion of me matters so much that as soon as you say it, you're like, fuck, man, I got to do it now. So now I'm in that. So in September, and it's grown into more than what we had planned. So what we had planned was he and I would share the cost of putting together whatever it takes to tape it. And he'd get up and he'd not do his whole keynote, but do some main points that'll cut together as a little 5-minute reel or 2-minute reel. And I'll do the same thing, and that'll be just what it is. Then a third person who's a big thought leader and really great transformational person also has that need and wants to play along. So then Pat says, what if we did what we need to do, but what if we made it like a mini TED Talk where we invite people to come and all three of us get up and do our spiel, like the full spiel, and let it be a moment, for the people that are in attendance to, hopefully get something out of it that'll help them. So now that has me calling about a space and has me planning an event and having to actually hone down what I'm writing. And as soon as I commit to it, I don't want to do it. I'm like, I don't want to do it. It's like I might fail. So I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it because I think what I'm learning from you and everything around me is stuff I've known and I haven't done is that, again, thinking about things perfectly is not as good as just doing anything at any level and having it be done. And even if it's bad, you did it, and it's probably not bad. So I'm in that. So I'm gonna get up in front of people and give a little talk and see what happens. And ironically, and this is how it happens, you guys, this is that magic I talk about when you access a connection to something bigger than you, is just by that simple declaration that I want to do this. Immediately, I got a request to speak at an event. Not for money, but they want me to basically do a keynote. And I have to acknowledge how that shows up so often in my life is that you make one little shift of committing to yourself, and then the world responds by going, yeah, do more of that. I want that. And so I'm taking a second to be aware that any little action I take forward is usually met with, yes, please. Yes, please, do more of that. And then I immediately go, yeah, I'm not worthy of doing any of that, so I'm not going to do that. But I am. I'm going to do that. And some of this comes out of my binge watching that I mentioned and didn't talk about. I've been watching the Olympics like I can't stop. And mostly I've been watching the Olympics to not watch the news. Like, it's either watch a movie with Will Ferrell where nothing good happens for me except I spend a couple hours not thinking. I guess that's good. But I've been watching the Olympics, and a lot of things have come up watching the Olympics. One, and most importantly, is a lot of joy. Like, really incredible for me to watch people work their whole life to reach a goal. And then two things. One is watching that goal happen, like watching that happen for someone, brings me so much deep joy for them and for me watching that happen. Like, watching Simone Biles go from walking away from the Tokyo Olympics and then having to deal with everybody's opinion about that, even though as a somewhat self-realized man, I get it. You were not in a place where you could do your work safely, emotionally and physically, and you made a choice that was really unpopular. Like, how much do we dictate our actions by what other people expect of us? You got the whole country expecting something of you, and you realized you couldn't do it, and you said no. And then a major part of the country told you were a fucking quitter, and you let us all down. And then some of us were like, no, you didn't. You had to do what you had to do. And so whatever, that was like a debate. Now she shows up, and I've been watching really closely her do her thing. Now, we're living in an age where we're seeing a goat do goat things. Like, I don't think I've ever seen anybody like her. I don't think I ever witnessed anybody like her. But what has struck me is what appears to be simultaneous things happening. Laser focus on accomplishing something at its unprecedented top, and at the same time, a detachment from the meaning of it. And so when I watch her, and they do the close-ups before she goes on, and she's quiet, and she's meditating, and she even said recently that she had a therapy session before she competed and how that helped. Fucking love that. The quiet before you go do this. And I wonder what she's thinking if she's saying stuff like, this doesn't matter, just go do it out of joy. Just, or she's like, I got to do this, whatever the access is. I have a feeling it's more the first than the latter. And then what I really am digging is watching the moments directly after she's done her routine and how she seems to be with her other teammates and everything around it. Like the smile on her face, there's a breeziness about her. There just doesn't seem like it's mattering that much, even though I know it matters, but I think she's in a place where I'm going to do my best. It matters to do my best, and it's also okay if it doesn't happen. And so even in this, in the beam finals where she fell and it just wasn't going to happen, and then they get on the podium. This is unrelated; it's a different event. But when they get on the podium and the Brazilian girl is in gold and she's in silver, and Jordan Childs is in bronze, and they bow to her, there's so much greatness in that. There's so much of a communication of we're all champions regardless of the score, and I was struck by them taking the moment to really see the other competitor by going, you know what, I'm bowing to you. They bowed to her on the podium, which is like an iconic moment. But I really was struck by the grace that some of our athletes had in defeat, where they're not doing performative behavior, meaning, not doing, oh man, I really let myself down and da-da-da-da, and now it becomes a thing forever, and really like, okay, all right, oh damn it, I fell, okay. And I really think there's some really huge takeaway from that. It's like, we're not going to fucking kill it every time, even when everyone expects us to. And even if we can blame the reason why we didn't kill it on a slippery beam or whatever, I'm noticing mostly on the Olympic gymnastics team, this kind of like doing it for reasons other than the ones we think. We think we're doing it for country. We think we're doing it to prove to the world how great we are. We think we're doing it because we've worked our whole life to do this. And what keeps coming back as I watch is they're doing it for the joy of doing it. It's what they are and what they do, and that doesn't live separate from committing to doing your best and going for something huge. But the lesson for me is you can go for huge things And if you fall short, that's okay too. I think that's really, really powerful. It really is the height of self-love. I'm going to push myself to do great things under great pressure. I'm going to show up to the pressure. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to not go for it, which is my tendency. Is there's greatness out there, but I don't want to assume that yoke. I don't want the weight of that, so I just won't. And what they're doing is they're jumping in 100% into a worldwide opinion swirl and seem to be okay with whatever you think and seem to have a place where they have a personal reason, where if they fall short, they can be okay with that too. It's not failure. It just is what it is. And so I've been really loving that and celebrating that and learning from them in that. You know, there's a lot to learn from greatness. You know, it's like that phrase that Michael Jordan used to say that maybe he didn't, but I think I heard him say that, you know, I've missed the final shot to win the game more than I've made the final shot to win the game. And it would be really easy. Well, for people like me, I always say, you know, you can have 15 wins and 2 losses and you dwell on the losses and not the wins. And I think there's a lot of takeaway that, you know, you can't have the wins without the losses. I mean, you just can't, right? You can't do that. And so watching them kind of compete at a highest level and be okay when they don't do what they were supposed to do, like it just didn't go the way they thought, again, goes back to this theme I keep going to, is that, you know, it's just going to be what it's going to be. And it lives in how you feel about it, you know? How do you feel about it, regardless of what other people feel about it? How do you walk with your head held high, knowing for your own personal reasons, whether anybody agrees with you, that you did your best and that was good, and medals don't mean as much as we think. So Simone Biles, seats open. Jordan Childs, seats open. And thank you. Thank you for being the example that you have been to all of us. In something that's supposed to be... So the Olympics. One of the things, I grew up just loving them. I have early memories of collecting stickers from McDonald's of the medal count, that you got a free burger if you got the right medals. So it's always meant a lot. But the thing that I've always loved about the Olympics is it used to be this time where we put politics aside and we just did sport for sport's sake. And there was all of these moments of sportsmanship and team play and human moments of hugging people in loss. We're watching people, you know, work their whole life for a 9-second moment in a sprinter's world, and you're 1/100, or in the swimmer's world too, you're like 1/100th away from greatness, and then that's gone forever. Like that moment, you're not. 4 years from now, it's not going to happen. And you know, how do you deal with that? And I guess that's what makes champions, is that you've got to, you know, love yourself even when the world is going to tell you failed. So that's what I got out of the Olympics. You watch any of it?
A little bit. I tend to put the Olympics and other sports on kind of in the background while I'm working, so I don't really pay a lot of attention to it. But basketball is the one thing that I'm following there.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great stuff. The other guy that I fucking love is the guy. I wish I had his name. I should have written his name down. I can't believe I don't have his name. But the pommel horse guy.
Yeah, I saw that.
The nerdy pommel horse Rubik's Cube guy. Love that guy. Just want to hang out with him. He's got to figure it out, man. He's got to figure it out. I'm not good at the other stuff. I'm great at this. I'm going to just do this. And while you guys are all in the Olympic arena and all of that's going on, I'm just going to sit quietly over here with my glasses on and just, you know, just meditate or be quiet. And then I'm going to go up and do my thing. And then I'm going to go back to just being the nerd that I am. And that's going to be just fine with me. And what I love is that I think these things are valuable too, is that what goes viral are the things that we can relate to. And so I think he wins for a lot of us. He's like, you know, I'm not the stereotypical gymnast. And this is my thing, and I did it, and I'm not making any bones about enjoying it, and we're just loving this guy. I mean, I just love him.
Well, speaking of viral, and I didn't watch it, I just saw the picture, and I already love him, is that Turkish shooter.
Yeah.
That's... All the other guys have they got the glasses and they got the headphones and they got the weird stance, and he's just sitting there with one hand in his pocket
with his reader glasses he got at Rite Aid. Yeah. No ear pro, nothing. He's like looks like he's shooting a raccoon from his porch.
Yeah, there's like some meme where it's like, oh, they said that no one ever remembers second place, and then it's him, and like, I don't even know who won that gold medal. I just know him who won the silver medal.
Yeah. I like that guy too.
Yeah, that guy's cool.
Yeah. He I just like, I don't need any gear. I'll just shoot.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. It's just so simple. I like that guy. There's a lot of those stories, man. I love it. Unfortunately, because of the Olympics, I have I haven't unfriended anybody, but I've unfollowed a lot of people.
Over the Olympics?
Yeah. The opening ceremonies. And without getting political on it, I'm going to tell you where my blame lies, where I place the blame, is NBC. The opening ceremonies were controversial, apparently. But as I watched it, I kept saying, tell me what I'm watching. Tell me what the hell I'm watching. I don't understand. Why is there a severed head? What is that building? All these things. And apparently the French commentators are telling you the context of why all those things were chosen. And all I got was, and this is no shade because you are a goddess and I literally will do anything to protect you from harm, Kelly Clarkson. Anyone who knows me knows, how much I adore her. I adore her. But, she's watching the Olympic ceremonies and all she keeps saying is, that's so cool. That's so cool. And it was so cool. But then what happens is shit happens that has historical reference. We don't know the history. And everybody goes off. You're mocking my God, this Last Supper thing, drag queens. By the way, I think his balls were out. Did you see that?
No.
Fucking crazy. Just so much. There's one guy dressed up like Bacchus or Dionysus or whatever, and it looks like his sack's hanging out. And so everybody's like, oh. And then I thought to myself, that's another thing that, do we really care? We've all seen a sack. It's not the most attractive part of any human. But, I mean, am I offended by that? And why do we draw the line that that's offensive? That's the part, But I had to unfollow a lot of people because what's making me crazy is people having an opinion without any context or any history or any understanding of what they just saw and then jumping to and conflating that means something it may or may not mean. And we just all take everything so personally. And then that sends me down a spiral of what can I say or do to fix the problem, which is a recurring theme for me, and the discord of it all, and the opinions not based in fact that are what our society is today really is exhausting to me. I can't let that just be. But with the new, outlook I have, I'm just kind of laughing at it all and going, okay, bless their hearts. You're all, you can think what you want. It's okay. You can be offended. It's okay. You can not be offended. That's okay. But that was surprising to me, that people reacted the way they did and got so uptight about so much of what I watched, which I thought was really great. I loved the opening ceremonies. I also related to the triathletes having to swim in the Seine.
Yeah, and then getting sick and not being able to compete again after.
Yeah, so I'm kind of an Olympic athlete at that level because I've done that. But what the fuck? Do you have no plan B? That was the plan?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. What did you think was going to happen there? What did you think was going to happen? That the Seine was going to get clean? I mean, come on. I mean, that's... And then, what do? You work your whole life for that moment? Do you go in the water? I don't know that I do. I don't know. But I feel bad about that. I feel bad for them that they got way sick. A lot of people got sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing about the Olympics that I can't understand, and this is, by the way, me being exactly what I said I don't like, is I don't know the facts behind this, but the cardboard bed thing so that nobody has sex.
I don't understand that either.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, I don't understand it. First of all, and this might be controversial, but I kind of feel like we want them all to have sex to make future great Olympians. I mean, where else can you have a gene pool concentrated like that? I'm like, bang it out, you guys. Like, make me some champions. And I don't understand how those beds are supposed to stop people from having sex. I also don't understand why that's even a thing. Like, why is that do you know anything why that is?
No.
I mean,
we're talking about the French here. I mean,
yeah,
who's more sexually enlightened than the French?
And you're in Paris. Come on. So I don't understand that at all. I'm like,
There is that whole Raging Bull thing, though, where it's like,
there's
abstain when you got a big
if that's your choice, to hold your chi, for power. But once you're done with your event, I'm like, banging out with somebody from Romania if that feels good to you. I don't have a problem with that. So I don't understand that. What else, Kaylin?
I don't know, Mark. What do you got going on?
What have I got going on? That's funny. Now that I'm feeling better, I'm trying to get back into the gym and start taking care of myself and stop feeling sorry for myself. And so I'm playing basketball today, which is great. I'm excited about that. And I really don't. What I'm kind of having a problem with is that I don't have an agenda right now. I'm in between seasons of my work that I can't talk about. And it's summer, and nothing's really going on in my industry. So this is the time to just kind of enjoy life. And what I realize is that I don't really have like a tasks that I'm like, I got to handle. This is just, I don't have anything to do. I'm just chilling. And I don't know why that's uncomfortable. Like,
it's not good for you.
I guess it's not good.
It's not good.
No. Why? I have my feelings why, but why?
There's something about accomplishing tasks, however small they are, that is rewarding, especially when you don't want to do them, like going to the gym. You go to the gym every day, but just sitting
like
around
cleaning
doing
out your
nothing.
Closet.
Yeah, just wandering around aimlessly, not knowing what to do. It gets you in your head, and it's just not good for you.
You know what? That's so interesting you say that, and true. Because as I'm sitting here going, there's nothing to do. I really don't have anything I have to do. While I sit there in my house, there are 50 things I could do. And you're right. Even the stupidest things like cleaning out your closet, you stand back afterwards and go, look what I've done. I've done something today. And I know enough to know that just movement of any kind, forward progress, brings more forward progress. But my therapist also says, and I think there's some truth in this too, that when your energy is less motivated, rather than making yourself wrong there, it's okay to be stagnant as well. So that, again, it's about balance. It's like, it's okay to be stagnant unless it's leaving you feeling depressed. And you're right that any movement, any task you do, just get up and go, which takes effort to get started, but actually rewards you on the other end, is probably better than just sitting and pretending that there's nothing to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if there's a day that I don't have really anything going on and I'm just laying in bed and watching TV all day, by the end of the day, by the time I'm going to bed, I'm not only like not appreciating, I'm like uncomfortable. I'm like laying in bed uncomfortable, still watching TV, as opposed to the days where I'm working all day long and It's tiring, even if I don't like most of it. But that feeling when you get to lay down in bed and watch a show for like, even if you only have like a half hour before you go to sleep, it feels so much better than just not doing anything all day.
Well, that's perfect. And what's interesting is each one begets more of the same. So if you don't do anything and you lay around watching television on the couch, it leaves you feeling a little yucky, and yet you can't seem to do more of that. Like, then it's even harder to get up and do something. On the other hand, when you throw yourself into something, even if it's something that's physically tiring, like the whole, dirt and moving the garden and all that shit I did, at the end of the day, when you're exhausted from having done something, then sitting and watching TV is, kind of cooling out.
It's a reward.
It's a great feeling. And then you want to get up and have the feeling again, which goes back to like when you're not working out, you can't get in the gym. You just can't get in the gym. The thought of going is just like gigantic. And I always say to myself, 3 workouts, and then you're in. If you can force yourself through 3 workouts of stuff you don't want to do, then it becomes something you want to do, and it's easier to show up. And so, that's one of those things I talk about a lot, is like, just take a second. I always talk about we numb ourselves when we're not feeling it. When our light's out, we numb ourselves to think nothing's wrong, and we just stay there. And what I've said often is that the process to get out of that is to take a moment to label what you're actually feeling. Not why or who did it to you, but what you're feeling. I'm feeling a little depressed. I'm feeling bored. I'm feeling whatever. And then once you've labeled it, say thanks for sharing, and take a break from thinking about that, and then go do something.
Yeah.
Which is what I think you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter what you do. But the act of doing something takes you out of your thinking, which is no good. It's a bad place to live. And actually spending the energy to do something, even if it's physical, doesn't deplete your energy. It brings more energy.
Yeah.
Vice versa, not doing stuff breeds, I can't get off the couch. So I guess here's my little game to play this week. Just showed up for me, is that let's do something every day. Let's take a moment in the morning. Oh, that's what I want to ask you about, by the way, is what's your morning routine? I'll get to that next, because I want to talk to you about that. But let's take a moment of the day, because in the morning for me is where it's all a little overwhelming. And instead of sitting in it and just scrolling through Facebook and everything and going, fuck, and then starting my day, why don't I do what I say and go, what am I feeling right now? Am I feeling overwhelmed? Am I feeling dread? Am I feeling lost? And okay, good. We put a pin in that. And then let's try to play the game of doing something every day. Some little thing that when it's done, your environment, your living space, whatever, is a little bit better, right? And literally clean out a closet, scrub a floor, cook yourself something, plant something. Any little fucking thing is better than thinking about all the things that you can't do or should do or would do or all of that. And that goes back to what I was going to ask you, what your morning routine is, because I think the morning is when intentions can get set. Like your day can go off the rails or on the rails right off the bat. And I think there are practices that, is that me?
That's all right.
Yeah. Spam's calling. I have a good relationship with them.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. For those people who have a good life discipline, their morning routine, a lot of people have written a lot about this. There's the Admiral who talks about just make your bed every morning, and that's a thing. What's your morning routine? What do you do when you wake up? My morning routine is one that I'm not proud of. You're in a safe space. There's no judgment here.
It's very simple. I wake up usually. Well, my kids wake me up, go out, make them their bottles.
Bottles, holy shit, dude.
Yeah. It's more of a sippy cup at this point, but yeah.
There's growth.
And they put on a show for them, and then I usually make a cup of coffee, and I scroll through Reddit. And there's a particular subreddit.
And how does that make you feel?
Not great.
Okay.
Not great, but my whole thing is like, I get it out of the way in the morning, so for the rest of the day, I don't need to go back and look at Reddit anymore. So it's kind of like I do it in the morning, so I don't do it later in the day.
As opposed to, I don't need to do this at all.
Yeah, right. And the thing that I'm looking at too is so dumb and doesn't give me any like knowledge, and it's like a subreddit called the best of Redditor updates. So people will go to Reddit and say, hey, I'm having this problem. My boyfriend cheated on me and I don't know what to do. And then, the update is like however many months later they update the people on their initial post.
I kind of like that.
It's like it's like a soap opera. It's or something like that for me. Half of them I'm sure are fake too. Yeah.
You know what we should do next time is bring me some of those questions.
Yeah.
And let's bonfire the shit out of those.
Yeah, I'll bring you some of those.
We'll just spend our time on anonymous people on Reddit.
Yeah.
Giving them advice about what they should do.
Yeah. And so I do that for about like a half hour, 45 minutes, and then I throw my phone to the side of the couch when I'm done with it. And I would really much rather like to be able to get up and work out and not even drink a cup of coffee. Because I've heard that you're not even supposed to drink a cup of coffee till after an hour after you've woken up.
We got a problem.
Yeah. And I would really like to be that person that wakes up and is able to just get a workout in. And like my best friend in the world has always just naturally woken up at like 6 a.m.
Can't imagine.
We'd have sleepovers as kids, and he would always just be up.
Ready to go.
Just get up, ready to go. Yeah, he's an athlete.
Not laying in bed going, oh, God, here comes another one.
Yeah, and he's an athlete, and so he can get up and he can work out, and I cannot do it. I cannot bring myself to get up early and go work out. And I don't have any other time to really work out throughout the day between work and my kids and my family. It's like I don't get a workout in, which I love. I love working out, but I don't have time for the rest of the day. That's the only time for me to do it. I know I need to do it, and I fail every morning at doing it. But at least I still have it like in the back of my head. Like you still need to do it.
It's a great place to have.
I'm not giving up.
That's what I call carbon footprint shit. You know what I mean by that? Is like Robbie does this with food. She's like when we're eating like pizza. And we eat good. It's not like we eat junk all the time. But when we're eating bad food, like what's not particularly healthy, Robbie has to say, this is so bad for us. And then we eat it. I always say that's like carbon footprint stuff. It's like, I'm going to burn fossil fuel, but I also saved a bunch, so that it comes out to zero. It's like if I say it sucks, like I know this is wrong, but I'm doing it anyway. It's supposed to make it okay. But that's the same thing as like having in the back of my mind that I know I'll feel better if I work out, but I'm not going to work out. Doesn't make it better that you didn't work out. But I was thinking about my morning. It's something we can, I'm constantly talking about what we can control and what we can't control. And that's a delusion. But there are things that we can do, it's like, why don't we do the stuff we know that makes us feel better? Unless we're desperate, like prayer, which you may agree with or not. And I don't even know if I pray as much as I meditate, but it's like...
Same thing to me.
Same thing, right.
It's the same thing.
But why is it that when things are good, I don't spend any time doing that? But when I'm really in trouble, I'm fucking holy dude. I'm like, praying all the time and meditating all the time and all that desperation stuff. And why don't we pay ourselves like that every morning? And like my morning routine is not a routine. Robbie has one, and it's really quite good what she does. Time consuming, but quite good. So we get up. She makes coffee for both of us, which is the greatest love gift, like in the love language thing. When I wake up and I go sit at my little station, and there's a steaming cup of hot, delicious coffee made with love from my wife, I can't tell you how many times that's gotten me through the day. So that gets me out of bed. I don't want to face the day, but I do want to face that cup of coffee. So it would be hard for me not to have a cup of coffee first. But I don't have a morning routine. I get up in the morning and immediately jump on a cup of coffee, looking at bills, looking at adult shit, scrolling through Facebook, before I take any action whatsoever that's going to make me energized. Robbie has a really healthy, I think, morning routine. She gets up, she makes coffee, feeds the dogs. I'm realizing how little I do in my house to support us other than say good job. But then she goes into her little area, and then she writes for at least a half an hour, which is something I've resisted, except when I was really having emotional problems. Like when I'm really, really in it, then I'll do those things. And I have to admit it helps. So what she does is she just writes. She says she writes stream of consciousness stuff, like, a gratitude list. She starts off with a gratitude list. Then she might, what she says is write out her poison. Like she'll just write all the intrusive thoughts that are just coming as fast as they can that make you feel terrible. As opposed to what you share a little bit and I share is like, I'm not going to even think of, it's going to be there in my head just rambling on, but I'm not going to acknowledge it at all or do anything to alter it. I'm just going to just be miserable behind it. So she spends her time doing that. She meditates. She writes and does all of that before she turns on anything else, before she opens a computer, there's no TV in the morning in my house, which is really hard for me because I wanted to immediately check in with the world. And so I really admire her for that because it's a discipline that she has to do. I mean, she's 40 years sober. She has to take care of herself or there's possibility of something not working out for her. But, it's not that hard to pay yourself first. And it's really paradoxical to me that we don't do it when in fact it's when you do anything for yourself, you feel so much better for having done it. When I sit for 20 minutes and meditate, I feel I am a absolutely calmer person. When I used for a while when I was really in trouble, like financially, I didn't know what I was going to do. I was really having a hard time. Pat Finn was married at the time and they owned a yoga studio and he said, you can come here for free. And for a while, out of desperation, I was getting up at 4:30 in the morning. This Mark Wahlberg, by the way, not the other one. And I was driving downtown at 4:30 in the morning to take a hot yoga class at 6:30. And I was doing it every day. And it became a habit and a practice. And what I found was I wasn't sleepy. I didn't have to take a nap at the end of the day. I was energized. I felt better. And I was calmer. Much calmer. And then as soon as I started feeling better, I stopped doing it. Mm-hmm. Which makes no fucking sense. So maybe we try this for a week. Let this game be. All right, here's the game. The game is you wake up in the morning. There's what you do every morning and what you don't do every morning. The game is eliminate one thing you do every morning that's not paying you and add instead one 15-minute thing you do that would pay you. Whatever that is. That one little shift. Let's see what happens if we take 1 week. You don't have to play. But I would really like you to because I'd like to hear how this affects you. And take an honest look at what in fact you're doing every morning before you start your day or as you start your day. And take one of those things, not all of those things, but one of those things that's just a waste and say, I'm not doing that. And instead do something else. And then add this part that Robbie in this thing she's doing is part of it. A consequence if you don't. So Robbie's thing is if she doesn't write an hour a day, she can't eat at a restaurant for a week, which means we will starve to death. And sometimes you got to play those games, but I think that's the game. I think the game is we can take a baby step here. I can take a baby step. What if I refused to let the day start without doing one healthy thing in the morning? Because here's the thing, I don't even eat. I have the cup of coffee, and then I won't eat till 2 in the afternoon. And it's really out of laziness. It's because I'm not going to get up and go make it or ask somebody to make me something or even think ahead to have food in the house so that I can have breakfast of some sort. So maybe my game will be I can't look at Facebook till noon. All right, here it is for me. Okay? 7 days of this. That's going to be hard. I'll do it. I won't look at Facebook till noon.
Maybe just try for like 2 or 3 days.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you don't need to go so hard right off the bat.
Well, it's 1 week. We can do a week.
Well, all right.
For the next 3 days, I'm going to not look at Facebook till noon. I'm going to only look at Facebook for 15 minutes. Set a timer.
In the day, the whole day.
In that session. I'll probably come back to it later.
Okay.
But in that session where I haven't started my day and done anything. So in other words, I got to get till noon, and I can't sit till noon and do nothing. I won't do that. And replace that 15, 20 minutes in the morning when I'm sitting there just drinking coffee and doing nothing but looking at, people rant. I'm going to replace that with, you got to eat. Which means I'm going to have to prepare by having something in the house so that I can. I'm going to have to get up off my ass and actually boil water. And then I'm going to have to eat even though I've accustomed myself not to be hungry in the morning. And let's see if that little shift, that little game right there, I'll share with you what moves for me. It's really simple. This is a simple game to play. Take one thing that's not working for you and don't do it. Take one thing that you're not doing that would work for you and do it, and see what else shows up for you afterwards. Can we do that? I already feel like I can't do that, which lets me know that's the right thing to do. So that's what's going to happen. So if you're going to reach out to me on Facebook after 12, I won't be looking, and I'll be fatter because I'll be having breakfast. So I got to go to the grocery store, so let's wrap this up.
All right,
so that's what we're going to do. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. There should be a bunch of social media coming your way. That's a new thing for us. So I want to hear what you got to say. If there's something you think I should be talking about here, or you'd like to hear from me, like what you expect to hear from me that I'm not giving you, that would be helpful. And if there are things that I'm doing that aren't working for you, don't tell me, because it hurts my feelings. And good luck playing the game this week, and I'll check in with you next week.